Hello and welcome to our special budget coverage. I am Hardik Bhardwaj and joining us today is Subhash Chandra Garg, former Finance Secretary of India. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Thank you, Hardik. Pleasure to be with you.
Sir, starting off with something that was also flagged in the recent economic survey, and that is on the rising fiscal challenges that we're witnessing at a state level. Wanted to understand, how serious do you think this concern is?
See, Hardik, in my judgment, the concern is quite misplaced. States' finances are in much better shape than the central government's finances. We typically judge the level of stress and concern about the financial state of the affairs by looking at whether there is a pressure on the fiscal deficit. The state's fiscal deficit is in control. The government of India allows them 3% of GSDP as the fiscal deficit, 0.5% extra for power sector and some other reforms. This is within that limit. So, to my mind, state's fiscal concerns is much less. Of late, there's been some mention, and the economic survey also takes note of that cash transfers are expanding as far as many states are concerned. And he has put out a number also in the economic survey that is within the overall spending. That still is a small fraction of the total state spending. I'm not justifying the freebies. They have their own justifications or political significance or whatever. But in terms of the state's financial stress, since the overall expenditures and deficits are in control, I don't think the government of India should worry too much about the state's state of financial stress.
Got it. Sir, now moving on, obviously something that has been in free fall the past 1 year, and that is the currency itself, the rupee. Now, the survey notes that the rupee is undervalued despite strong fundamentals. So, according to you, what is holding it back?
See, we can always categorize whether we have a lot of strength in our currency economy, and the dollar is appreciating or rupee is depreciating against the dollar because of the external factor. But that would be, in a way, sort of misguiding ourselves. We need to look at the real facts. And one of the most critical facts which is emerging for the last 1 year is that the dollar actually is depreciating against most currencies of the world. Against euro, it is depreciated by 20%. Most currencies, it is depreciated. But rupee is depreciating against dollar. So it's a double whammy. Why should this be happening? If we dismiss it, like the chief economic advisor has dismissed it by saying that it's a small wrinkle in the ointment or something, and the global community in a way is making a victim out of India. That is, I think, is not a right kind of approach to do it. We should look if you look at fundamental reasons why rupee is depreciating. There are two reasons in India's sort of currency management as far as foreign currency is concerned. One is that we are perennially short on the current account, but we make up by the capital account flows, both on the FDI front, the borrowings, as well as the portfolio investments. Now, for last quite some time, both the FDIs has slowed down, and the portfolio investors are actually withdrawing money rather than sending to India. And that conveys to me that if the foreign investors, the direct investors, look at India as not a land of opportunity, and therefore they don't want to put in investment here by way of the FDI, and they also don't see the profits coming from India, and that's the reason why they withdraw the foreign portfolio investment as well. That's a very serious situation. I think the government would do well to address these fundamental reasons rather than sort of trying to take a kind of soft approach that no, everything is all right. After some time, things would reverse. So I'm really concerned about the state of the dollar, the rupee vis-a-vis the dollar. There is one more reason which I would highlight, that it's not only because of this dollar outflows and all. The Reserve Bank has also sort of in last 1 year pivoted away from dollar and has taken some of the reserves into other currencies, and has also expanded purchase of gold. Now this is when you have the dollar supply reduced, and when you also sort of convert your dollar reserves into other currencies and gold, then you would always see the pressure building up on rupee dollar exchange rate. So all these reasons combined is, I think, what explains rupee's weakness, and very heavy weakness against dollar. And if we continue with this kind of policies, it will persist.
Got it. Keeping our focus on the global factors now, wanted to ask you a broader question. How should India rethink their economic strategy in a world where geopolitical uncertainty is regarded as structural? What do you think?
That is true. There is a massive transformation going around in the world. The American economy or American politicians used to sort of be the leader of the world. They had a certain kind of structural view about the world, in terms of trade, production, foreign investment flows, and all. Which was very inclusive, which was to treating the world as one single sort of place to do. But of late, after Mr. Trump has taken over, America is withdrawing. America is putting additional, very high tariffs on the imports from the rest of the world, as if to signal that no, no, we don't want your imports, and if you have to import, you pay us very high rate of duties. This is creating very large turmoil, not only for the rest of the world, but also for the American economy. On the other hand, the Chinese have grown up very fast and very massively in last 20-25 years, and have become an economy which is rivaling now the US. And on the third, which is the third big block in the global economy, is the EU, which is having a different kind of approach about the economic and the societal living. They want more clean air, more of the clean production, and the data to be used in digitalization, to be used in a manner which serves the societal ends much better. So these three blocks now, the America, EU, and the China, have become very powerful three big blocks, and that is what is changing. And some sprinkling of the war between between Russia and Ukraine, and those are also complicating the matter. So you see the international order which was brought in after after 1945, and by 50s, the IMF, the World Bank, WTO later, that order is also being challenged by these big three players. America doesn't want the UN, does not want many of these international, it's withdrawing inside. So there is a massive churning going on about the structural aspect and the way the world economy functions. And that is true. So you can't ignore it. But it's to my mind, it will be wrong to treat this as temporary or something which will come back to the old normal. I don't think that this will happen. We need to sort of think of this new world order and the new reality of the world, and then plan our sort of strategies. We are not that big player, as these three big economies are, unless we adjust to this new world, we will continue to suffer. But we can do it. We have the ability. We have a lot of strength and services. We have the very viable, very good, very competent human talent. we can change the, and we can take on, we will also need to sort of address a lot of things. We um, we are not even having a very good trade and the production linkages within the South Asia, and we are at war with Pakistan, Bangladesh. So we will have to sort out a lot of issues to become an economic power in times to come. And that would require a very, very different and very fundamentally sort of different approach to the world economy and the order.
And sir, taking your point on the advantages bit, India has a very clear advantage compared to the rest of the world, and that is their domestic demand. So, wanted to ask you, beyond headline tax reforms, what can India's budget do to capitalize on this demographic advantage?
See, this is also, I think, a mistake. The demand is not measured in terms of how many people you have. Obviously, India has very large number of people, large number of stomachs, large number of the bodies to be sort of clothed and fed. And therefore, if somebody counts that the demand is proportional to the number of human beings which we have in this country, then that might be a view which can be put forward as that we have very large domestic demand. But demand, effective demand is in the form of what is your income level, what is your GDP in income, so to say. And at that level, if you look at India's GDP or the national income is close to only $4 trillion, whereas Americans are 25 trillions, EU is 17, 18 trillion, China is exceeding 20 trillion now. So it does not really serve us well if we think that we have a very large demand. To create the large demand also, we actually need to grow our domestic product, the GDP, and that if that happens, our incomes rise. We are one of the lowest per capita income country in the world. There's enormous amount of poor. Why do we feed 80 crores people with free rations? That suggests that these people are actually having no demand. There's no capability of demand, and therefore, I don't think this premise that we have a very large domestic economy and our demand is world class or very high in the world order. I think that would be a mistake. So if we keep that fact in mind, then you frame the budget proposals accordingly. You need to sort of take the budget proposals in a way that our budget is essentially structured for the 20th century world, if I can put it that way. Look at where we spend money, even in capital expenditure, which is supposed to grow the economic capacity, productive capacity of the economy, is largely focused on rail, road transport, metros, and that kind of things. And there are a lot of schemes to support interest relief, the PF assistance kind of things for the old time of industry. There is very little investment which we do, or very infrastructure which we create for the new economy of the world, the new economy, the new energy transition, solar, wind, hydrogen, and things like that. We talk about it, but actually effective is very low. So if you take all these things into consideration, I think budget must look at making a very large structural change for the new economy or the 21st economy of the world and India, rather than continuing with the 20th century solutions.
Great. I think that's a very good point that's been raised, that it's not just about demand, but also the rising per capita income and people being able to do something about that demand. Thanks a lot, sir, for speaking to us, and
Thank you.
we'll hope to have a conversation again soon. Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.